Hey there, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
If you're watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you'll see Crystal Paine there. She's a wife, she's a mom, she is an author, and it says she's a Jesus lover. Is that true?
Yes, definitely.
She is, and I've talked to Crystal before. She was in town a few years ago with our good friend Molly Holm from Glory House. And Molly said, you need to talk to Crystal Paine. And I said, well, okay, I'll talk to Crystal Paine. And it was enjoyed talking to her. I'm glad to have you back, Crystal.
I'm so excited to be back.
Well, we wanted to talk to you about a number of things. Now, you have a number of things going on in your world. I mean, you are a mother of four, my gracious. But you have a new book out. It's called Love-Centered Parenting, the no-fail guide to launching your kids. Now, honestly, Crystal, I'm the father of three. Well, they're men now. I have one teenager left. I've wanted to launch them for many years. So,
in a different way, probably, though.
Yeah. Where were you when I wanted to launch them? That's my question. But anyway, let's talk to you. How's it going for you there in Nashville? How are you and your family?
We are doing really well. We are actually fostering. We have been foster parents for a year and a half. So we have a little boy. He is almost a year old, and he has a lot of medical complexities. And he came to us the week before this book launched. So life has been very interesting.
Wow.
Now, I think it was on your Facebook. I saw a picture of you and your family, and there was a baby in a little sling. Is that the baby?
Well, it depends upon, because we had another baby last year that we had for 8 months. So, and then also I birthed a baby last year. So we've brought home 3 babies in the last year.
Well,
so you've not been busy whatsoever in the last year, is what you're saying, basically.
Just been sitting around trying to come up with something to do. So if you guys need any help with anything, I'm happy to help you out.
Hey, not only is Crystal a mom and a wife and an author, but she also has a radio show, and she is the money-saving mom, not money-saving mom, the money-saving mom. You can go there, themoneysavingmom.com. We may talk about that in just a few. All right, let's kick it off here. Love-Centered Parenting. Where did this book come from? Is this something you've wanted to talk about for a while?
If you would have asked me maybe 6 years ago if I would ever write a book on parenting, I'd be like, absolutely not. But I also didn't know that 4 years ago, the bottom was kind of going to fall out in my parenting. One of my kids was going to go through a really, really difficult season. And I was going to have to kind of start over again and learn how to parent in a completely different way. And so this book really came out of that journey. And as I shared little bits of what I was learning and growing and what God was teaching me and little pieces on the internet, people just said, could you share more? And so my husband and I and our kids, we prayed about it for about 9 months and just finally felt it was the time.
Now, you talked about having fostering some children, and talk about how that's been for you, because that is a learning curve as you go, and it's something completely different in ways than raising your own children, right?
Yes. I think one of the biggest lessons that it has taught me is living with your hands open. I feel like we oftentimes kind of think we have some control over our life, but with fostering, we have zero control. I mean, our job is to advocate for the children that are in our home. Our job is to love them, to love them as if they are our own. But ultimately, we don't get to make the decisions for them. We don't get to choose what happens with them. And it's really taught me a lot about having to just open my hands and trust God. And then I think, well, why do I think that I'm in control and get to choose with my kids, my bio kids as well? And so it's really just taught me to walk by faith and to just trust God, take the next right step and see where it leads. And sometimes it's a wild adventure.
Crystal Paine, she's got a new book out. I think it came out in March, and you can pick it up. We'll tell you where in just a few. It's called Love-Centered Parenting, the no-fail guide to launching your kids. I know both Dan and we have children, and they are older, but still, we're in a stage where parenting never stops, and we still want to launch them. We still want to see them, be successful in the things that God wants them to have. My wife and I have a tendency to just go, no, but you got to let them go. Don't you find that that's the problem with all of us parents, right? We just don't want to let loose.
Yeah. And I think, one of the reasons why we chose the subtitle that we did, even though it kind of feels weird, like, why can I guarantee a no-fail guide? And why am I talking about launching your kids when my oldest is only 16 and a half? And because for me, one, you can't fail when you're faithful, because it's not about the results. It's not about your child's choices and behaviors, because you ultimately cannot save them. You cannot be their Holy Spirit, but you can sure exhaust yourself trying. And so it's about faithfulness. But then also, launching your kids isn't something that just happens when they're 18. I really encourage parents in this book to start when they're younger. Start really working yourself out of a job. And what does it look like to raise adults, not dependent children? And how can you start fostering that from a young age? And so I give a lot of practical tips for that.
I love that.
Now, the word picture I see in my head, at least with launching, is launching a ship with a bottle. And of course, it doesn't usually make the ship go. But what was is that kind of the word picture is launching them? It's not easy to do, but you kind of push them out.
One of the things that we've really tried to do is to give our kids responsibility from a young age. And as they show that they are capable of making decisions, to allow them more and more to make their own decisions. As parents, it's so easy for us to want to bubble wrap and overprotect our kids, because we don't want them to fail. We don't want them to make mistakes. We don't want them to get hurt. But if we do that until they're 18 years old, and then all of a sudden we're like, okay, see ya, have a nice time at college. We are not raising them to be adults. We are not training them with the skills necessary to go out into the world and make decisions. We're kind of training them to just be followers, or to just be completely dependent upon us. And so as our kids get older, letting them more and more make decisions, take ownership for things in their life, and also make mistakes, so that while they are still under our roof, while we are still walking alongside them, we can be helping them and kind of being that safe place for them to fall back on when they make those mistakes. And we can talk about it. And also, hopefully, then they're going to make the $3 mistakes and the $30 mistakes instead of the $3,000 and the $30,000 mistakes.
Yeah. Good stuff. Crystal Paine, author, talking about the new book, Love-Centered Parenting. Crystal, your favorite chapter in the book, you think? Maybe the one that you really learned from, and you're so proud that not only did you get it, but you've put it out there for other folks to get it as well.
I really feel like when I was narrating the audiobook, the chapter that gave me goosebumps and made me almost break down and cry was the final chapter, where I talk about how this all came full circle. So I open up the book with talking about walking into the emergency room and saying, my child is suicidal. 4 years later, we walked back into that same hospital, and I see psychiatric ward right there above. But because of the 4 years of the work that God had done, we were walking in there to meet a sweet, tiny little baby boy who we got to take home from the NICU and foster for 8 months. And I know that we would never have been in that place to be able to open our hearts and our home had it not been for the work that God did over those 4 years.
Good stuff.
Crystal Paine. Yeah. Also, she has a website called moneysavingmom.com. Before we run out of time, I want to talk about that for folks who have not experienced that. If you want to go online to moneysavingmom.com, you can find all kinds of deals. Just pulling it up, I was like, whoa, wow, look at all these deals. Crystal, how did all this come about? And talk about some of these phenomenal deals that you share with moms.
So I actually started blogging in 2005. My husband was in law school, and we had set this audacious goal that we were going to go through. He was going to go through law school, and we were going to stay out of debt. And the rubber met the road, and we had to learn to really maximize the mileage of our money. And from there, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. We had our first daughter, and I was trying to figure out how to make ends meet. And so I started blogging, and I found that people were just fascinated with how we were living on then a $30 a week grocery budget. it. So I started sharing some about that. And pretty soon in 2007, it turned into moneysavingmom.com. And we were thinking it was just going to be this little side thing that we were going to do. And within a year, we were making a full-time income off of it. And now my husband, he went to law school, started his own law firm, and then came home. And now we get to work in the business together, just sharing with people and encouraging them to be strategic and intentional with their finances.
Wow.
Crystal Paine, she is the author of Love-Centered Parenting, as Dan mentioned there, themoneysavingmom.com. I'm going to have to check that out, even though I'm not a mom. I'm going to have to check that out. There you can follow her. Dan's got the Instagram there, and he also has the website up there. Real quick before we have to go, she's got a radio show. Crystal, do you do that once a month? When do you do that? When do you drop your radio show? Is it once a week? What is it?
Yeah, so my husband and I have a podcast called The Crystal Paine Show, and we do that usually every week. It drops on Tuesdays.
On Tuesday, and you can get that anywhere podcasts are, whatever the venue is there. It's good stuff. I had a chance to listen to a little bit of your podcast. It was really not only the content, but the quality is really, really good. So check it out. And I see that, let's see, Robin O'Brien, there's a comment, moneysavingmom.com is awesome. We went on one income because we learned so much from the Money Saving Mom. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's amazing.
Thanks for what you do. That is so awesome.
Crystal,
Praise the Lord.
Crystal, we'd love to talk to you again. Maybe we can get together sometime in September. And we'll see how the book's doing and maybe what else you're working on, because I'm sure you've got other books on the inside of that head of yours. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.